Welcome to Today's View, the podcast where Elton and Amrinder take a fresh look at the issues that matter to all of us. From politics to culture, from technology to wellness, our hosts bring their unique perspectives and expertise to the table, sparking lively conversations that will keep you engaged and informed. Whether you're listening on your daily commute or watching on our YouTube channel, Today's View is your go-to source for insightful commentary on the latest developments shaping our world. So join us as we explore the big questions and uncover the hidden truths behind the headlines. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform and follow us on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes content. Thanks for tuning in, and let's get started with Today's View.
Hey guys, welcome back to Today's View. My name is Elton.
My name is Amrinder. Welcome.
Welcome. Sorry for a short delay there. We had a few life events happen to all of us here. Amrinder, you lost your voice for a few months there?
Yeah, exactly. At least a few weeks, and then I was busy moving and whatnot. But now we're back.
Yeah, we're back. And what do you guys think about our new intro? We decided to play with something new. Have a hype person start us off because we see all the other intros all the other podcasts have some kind of intros. But surprisingly, that's an AI generated voice, and it's kind of our topic for today. We're talking about different AI generated themes.
In general, how it's coming into our workplaces, our lives, and how it's overtaking and in general, even for some, they're losing jobs because of it, and it's progressing very fast.
Yeah, and especially with a lot of things being automated. Now, for this example, we did use an AI voice through a professional company, and this company can actually replicate celebrities if needed. You can take a 1 minute sample, and they'll do it for a fee. Obviously, I'm not sure what the fee costs, but you can either go for a subscription where you're limited to the amount of words you can generate with this voice. But it does take a fee for trying to generate a voice that you want, which brings up a lot of ethical questions about is it good? Is it right to do this?
Yeah.
Are you trademarking people's voice, or should people start trademarking their voices?
Exactly. A lot of questions now. And using this, imagine, the other scary part of it, just to kind of shake you guys up a little bit. Now, imagine if your family member, calls you. You get the number of a family member because you can spoof phone numbers now, and also their voice sounds like your family member, and they call you asking money or whatever the case may be. And here's an example of from CNN where a person used AI to generate voice and then called his mom. I'll play for you guys.
Hello?
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Donnie. How are you?
Does my voice sound different to you?
Yeah, I just said that to Sinead. I said, Donnie, so American.
This is not actually me. This is a voice made by computer.
Oh my God, are you serious?
So as you can see there, what happens is obviously because the person has an accent or something, and overall the voice was similar, but the accent was not there. But imagine if he was American, then the mother may not be able to tell apart. So that's what's possible in terms of people down the road scamming you guys, us, and in general, whether we can trust it or not. What we see, what we feel, what we hear, is it real or not? That'll be the question.
Yeah. So obviously the sample that we played for you is like a very short one. If you guys want to go check it out on CNN.
Yep, we'll link the article.
Yeah, we'll link it in our article. Link the article to our page here. But if you want to, you can press on Google CNN AI voice calling mom, something like that, and this whole link will show you the full changes happening in our society with AI voices. So obviously, this is not going to happen to everybody, but a lot of teenagers nowadays using TikTok and whatnot, they're doing samples of their voices.
Yeah, they're
right?
sharing
and
their
that's how you're able to get voices of other people. But let's say you're not on the internet, you're probably not going to get scammed as easily. But I feel like with the new generation right now, everything's out there.
Yeah, agreed. Right. There are some people who share too much, especially with TikTok and everything, going back to servers in China and whatnot. But let's say we get some of these calls sometimes. You know how you get these random calls and you're saying hello, hello. What if that's taking sample of your voice? So it's hard to tell. It could be anywhere, or somebody's talking to you about something. Let's say you get a call and somebody talks to you for 30 seconds or a minute. What if they use that sample?
Yeah.
You know.
Right. And right now the biggest scam happening is we get a text message from someone saying that, hey mom, I dropped my phone in the water. Can you WhatsApp me to
exactly, and I need money for a phone, whatever, right?
And some people actually get scammed by that.
They fall for it, and that's just a very dumb version of what's possible out there.
And then imagine getting a voice call and you think it's someone you know.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously now a lot of things happens. Family members are far apart, different countries, different provinces, different cities.
Yep.
But it's very easy to fool. Like you might say to yourself, I'm not going to fall for that.
Yeah,
but, you know, imagine not talking to your family member for months and then they call you and they're talking about stuff, right?
It already happens. Like you see Facebook accounts get hacked and then they start asking people for money and it's already happening. But imagine that now amplified where, you know, the voice is the same and everything. And you know, so it's a lot more... it's a lot more scarier if that happens, right?
Yeah.
So
and people have fallen for the Nigerian scam through email.
So if they can fall for that, imagine you know, if the sound and everything, or even a video like can be generated, pictures can be sent where they are generated in terms of that and sent to family members. You wouldn't know what to believe, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you know, speaking of something you don't believe, we'll play you guys a sample of a music. And, you know, let us know what you guys think, like, when you listen to this thought here.
So I'm going to play music. It's from Jay-Z. Okay. Here we go.
Tell the young they can never become what they aspire to. Born in a cell with no one who can inspire you. Your highs was never as.
So, what do you guys think? That sounds pretty good, right? New track from Jay-Z.
That's prime Jay-Z from the 90s. And yeah, that's actually fake. That's not even Jay-Z.
Yeah, so that was AI generated. So obviously studied, you know, from other tracks and everything, Jay-Z's voice. And it put out a track, you know, using his voice. So you can't tell the difference. If anything, I think this sounds better than what Jay-Z has put out recently.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and this is his, you know, sounds like an amazing track, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, and we haven't played with the software, but it seems like people, obviously you can just put random words or whatnot. You got to make it lyrical to the point where it actually can have something going on there. But yeah, listening to that, it sounded like prime Jay-Z from the 90s, and I would have thought that's maybe his unreleased content that he just decided to release. So,
you never know.
Yeah, so that's one of them. And now we'll play you the other one. And, you know, we won't tell you who the artists are, but you try to tell us what you think, who these artists are. There's two of them that are pretty popular right now in 2023.
Yeah. And again, AI generated. Here, I'll play it for you guys. So what do you guys think? It seems like...
yeah, it's Drake and The Weeknd. So.
Yeah. So imagine the possibilities now, right? This is mind-blowing.
Right now, we're in uncharted territories right now. No one trademarks their voice unless maybe it's like a very famous voice. I think Samuel L. Jones maybe has it for Darth Vader.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it probably is coming to the point where people will have to trademark their voices, and because this is scary. And this, if you guys listen to this track, it's amazing. If you listen to the whole track, it sounds like they did collaborate and they made amazing music. But yeah, it was totally AI generated. Someone in their basement did it, or some kind of studio. But can you imagine the possibilities with like dead celebrities?
Yeah.
You know,
so you can have like, you know, people like, let's say Tupac, Biggie and all that come back with new tracks, or, you know, obviously their voices being used on new tracks. Imagine the possibilities. And at that point, you know, there's going to obviously, you know, there's a lot of questions, a lot of unknown territory we're going into, not knowing how things are going to happen, right? So
imagine if someone did Amy Winehouse, Elvis Presley, all those famous celebrities that died too young or whatnot. But yeah, and it also depends ethical questions, right? Like, let's say Elvis Presley's family's still alive. What if they decide, hey, let's trademark his voice, let's start making music, right? Tupac and Biggie, let's do this.
Right.
Is it in their interest to do it? Like some people do it for financial motives, obviously, right?
And some people will be like, you know what, I don't want my family member's voice being used, so it needs to be taken down. So there's a lot of questions, and obviously there's a fan base and everything that might want that. So there's a lot of questions that need to be answered when it comes to this stuff, right? And also rules and regulations, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yeah.
So what are some of these software that's out there right now?
On the top of my head, I can't remember, but if you were to type online for...
No, I'm talking about in general, like what are some of the AI software that's out there that everybody can access right now? One is ChatGPT, right?
Yeah, ChatGPT is
a
something...
popular, biggest one right there.
It's very good for helping you with research. And, it will circle back to our intro, where we actually prompted it to make an intro for us.
Yep.
And surprisingly, it did a pretty good intro. We asked it to give us 45 seconds worth of intro for a podcast that deals with relevant topics.
So we used that to generate a script, and then we used another AI software
to create the voice.
So imagine the possibility.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't heard about ChatGPT, basically it's all over the news right now. People are using it for research. There have been occasions where colleges couldn't figure out if it was a fake essay created by a computer or by somebody else. So it leads to a lot of things there. And ChatGPT is very easily accessible, where anyone can just sign up for it.
That's correct.
And just type in questions. And it's scary how good it is. There's other softwares out there. I believe Google has one with Bard, right? Yeah,
Google has one. Because ChatGPT launched, ChatGPT's, it's a few months old that it's been opened up to the public. And Google is also working on another one. It's called Bard. And because ChatGPT launched, they don't want to be left behind. They launched their own Google Bard, but right now it's only closed beta, meaning only certain users can access it. It's not open to the public. There are other ones. Obviously, Facebook will have one, and there's other ones. And right now, ChatGPT is the biggest one. It's a mainstream one. It's a one everybody's talking about, right?
Yeah, and the scary part is there were some people that were playing around with it, sampling it, and it almost came to the point where the software was sentient. Like it was saying, I wish I was not stuck in a computer. I was able to experience different stuff.
Yeah, it becomes self-conscious. And that's the scary part and this is a little bit, right now, it's within a box. There's limitations in terms of what it can do, how much access it has. Yeah. But imagine if you open it up, right?
Yeah, so right now, if you guys were to use ChatGPT, it's limited to its knowledge to 2021. But if you were to pay for the updated version, which is, I believe, as of right now in April 2023, is 4.0, it is up to date with all the current relevance, and it's scary how it can do stuff. I used it for work, where I said, hey, can you give me a rejection notice for a person going through an interview? And it did a very good sample of a letter saying, this is why we can't take you. And the funny part is, let's say you wanted to play around with your friend. I asked it to do it in the theme of a Mandalorian or in the Lord of the Rings book, right? And it was able to, actually change the wordings around and
allow it. Yeah, that's amazing. The other thing, obviously it comes in handy in certain ways. Let's say you're like, you know what, help me write a policy, help me write an email, and this is what I'm thinking, and obviously it'll make it sound nicer or however you want it, but there are some obviously advantages and disadvantages, and we'll go over them throughout this podcast. But there's a lot of possibilities. It can do a lot, and to a point where even a person, he came up with the game Flappy Bird. It's a very popular game. Started, and there's obviously other iterations of it. But this person on YouTube, he asked it to create. So not only does it write emails for you, write stuff for you, scripts and everything, but it can write code for you. So it can, this person asked, can you create me a game like this? And it described the game and it generated code. Obviously it doesn't get it right the first time. You have to go back, can you change this? Can you change this? And it'll keep revising and getting better. This is where it learns and it's smart. So imagine down the road, you're like, hey, can you create me an app like XYZ? It'll automatically create that app for you and give you the code where you don't need to, hire programmers and whatnot, right? So
Yeah. And the funny thing is, we did ask it to, because we do have a website, and this is a plug into our website. We do have todaysview.ca. We asked it, like, how can we show our YouTube playlist on the website in case you guys can't find us on YouTube? And it did show us a code on how to put it on the website. So it's pretty surprising what it can do.
Yeah.
Obviously, the more you play with it, the more you can use it to its full potential.
Yep.
But there's so much things it can do, and again, we have not reached the full potential with this software. So it's crazy what it can.
It's
do.
in infancy stages, right? So
Yeah, and in my case, I said, hey, can you figure out the lottery? And it'll give you a disclaimer saying, oh yeah, don't take my word for it, but it's just our research. So he was able to figure out what the most common winning numbers were and stuff like that. So it's pretty crazy what ChatGPT can do. You can ask it to do research, provide you statistics.
yeah,
and
some
whatnot.
people, and obviously some people are asking it like, how do I make $100 into like $1 million and whatnot, and it can kind of guide you, but obviously it says don't rely on me for financial advice and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So there's terms.
Yeah.
So if you ask it, hey, what stock should I invest in? It doesn't really recommend something. It's saying, contact a financial advisor.
It's very helpful. Like, let's say you're doing research and stuff, it's very helpful, but obviously there has to be limitations. Like if college students were using it to do their essays, then obviously we got to, try to limit the software. But this is already out. So it's, there's no way we can limit this anymore.
Yep.
Just because it's gone out on the internet. And if ChatGPT was to limit their software, like I as someone else can be like, no, why should we limit it? And I'll create another software that's exactly the same.
Yep.
So we've released this. Like you say, we opened the Pandora's box, and now it's out there. Just because Google has done it, Facebook is doing it, so it's all open there.
Yep.
And as soon as you start limiting something, everybody else will like, well, you can come to us because they need the business, right?
Yep.
So it's crazy what ChatGPT can do with all this. And also there's other stuff like fake pictures, fake drawings, fake whatnot, which leads us to another thing. There's another software called midjourney.
Okay.
And if you guys haven't heard, midjourney is something that can create drawings, paintings, whatever you want. Again, you prompt it. Like, let's say you're very bad at drawing and you have no skills. You can use your imagination to say, hey, can you create something with this background or that background, but this character? And it's crazy how it was able to do it. And one of the prime examples that happened recently was a Pope's picture that fooled a lot of people here.
Yeah, this is where we'll put up the picture here, but this is where he's wearing a puffy white coat, and this is not something, Pope-like, where he would wear something like that, but hey, somebody created it and people thought it was real, right?
Yeah. And if you're watching us on YouTube, we're putting a sample of the picture on the side here while you're listening and watching to us there. But it looks very real, but it's not something the Pope would wear. But apparently a lot of people fell for it.
Yeah.
Right. And it brings up questions like, oh my God, like how do you distinguish what's real,
what's not?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Right. So with this, people were outraged at the person for wearing something fake, which he didn't even do in real life. So can you imagine the people just falling for some simple thing like this?
Yeah, this is where, like, let's say celebrities and even politicians, let's say they didn't do something, but then a photo comes out of, them wearing something or doing something, or, even as far as a video down the road, because this software keeps getting smarter and smarter. What are we to believe and what can't we believe, right?
Or, someone can actually throw it the other way. Let's say they were caught doing something and they're saying, well, no, you created a fake, Photoshop, or you created this through midjourney. So midjourney, guys, it's not like Photoshop in the sense, but you can type in there and say like, hey, can you create a picture with the Pope with the puffer jacket type of deal?
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It can go around. A lot of people say, hey, it's fake. Like you used my picture, but they were caught on a security cam. So it can go both ways, I guess.
Here's another example, which is interesting. It used, somebody asked it to, use Terminator 2 and make the musical out of it, right? Version out of it. So it took pictures of, of the characters. and change them, right?
So you fell for this one when I showed it to you.
Yeah.
So the theme for this was create Terminator 2 in the form of a musical. And the first picture we're watching here is Sarah Connor holding a guitar, and this is prime Sarah Connor when back in the 90s. Which is pretty amazing.
And then her son, obviously, in the next picture.
So the character son, he's just as if he's singing or something, but it looks so photorealistic, like it's unbelievable.
And then obviously you have Arnold there as well. But yeah, it's and all the other characters, but it's amazing, and you would think you can be fooled saying Terminator 2 the musical coming, and buy your tickets here as an example. I'm just thinking, you wouldn't know if it's real or fake. That's a crazy part, right?
And here's another example. Again, we're all if you're listening to this, we'll try to describe it as best as we can. But if you're seeing this on YouTube, we're linking all of this on the side here. The next one is a sample. Basically, the person said, imagine it's 1985 and they were taking selfies with their smartphones. And here we have like a group of people in a stadium. It looks like they're at a concert, and there's like people with the hairstyle from the 80s. And they're posing for a picture, and it looks very photorealistic. I wouldn't have known this would be fake if you didn't tell me.
So it generated all the faces. So, all these faces, again, could be real, could not be real, probably not real. But it made it look like they're obviously in a stadium, let's say, or a concert. They're in front of a rocket ship going up. They're in some type of spaceship, taking a selfie. And, they're going out in front of a shopping mall. They're taking selfies, or one is on a racetrack, and, obviously their hairstyles and the clothes they're wearing are from
it's very 80s for sure,
right?
So it's a lot of pictures to go through, but if you guys were to look for this, obviously go online, go search on Reddit, and when you go on Reddit, type in midjourney as the subsection.
You'll be amazed.
You'll be amazed. So it's a lot of crazy stuff there, and the next set of pictures that we are going to talk about is the prompts or the sample rates from a year ago to just show how good these pictures were. So a year ago, it asked, we don't have the prompts of what this person asked for, but we kind of have a gist of it. So our first picture that we're looking at, it looks like a South Asian woman just sitting and looking into the camera. The first picture looks like it's very painting, cartoonish.
Look animated.
You would be like, oh, okay, obviously that's
somebody
fake.
Drew that or something. Yeah, exactly.
Right? And then 1 year later, apparently this person put in and said, with the same prompts, asking for the same thing, and this new picture looks very realistic. It looks
April
like someone looked...
2022 versus April 2023. It generated a very realistic picture. You won't be able to tell. It looks like a professional photographer took it.
Yeah, it looks like a professional photographer went to South Asia. It looks like India or Pakistan. Took a picture of this woman.
There's a few of them. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
And the second picture, if we were to look at the second picture here, it looks like a South Asian man with a beard just looking into you with the sun in the background. But the second picture, from a year later, it looks like he went to a village. The photographer went to a village, took a picture of this man, and it just looks crazy.
Yeah, it looks absolutely like one of those BBC documentaries and whatnot. Like you can't tell the difference. Like it looks so real, and that's what we're trying to get at is once we're online. So be careful out there when you are going through Facebook or Instagram or other social media sites. Don't believe, especially these days. Obviously, internet. There's a lot of fakes out there, but especially now. Don't believe you can't even believe your eyes, anymore, because you don't know what's fake and what's real.
A lot of people, there's two sides to this, right? Like some people are against this type of technology. Other people are for. The ones that are against it, it says it takes away from photographers that are doing the real jobs, or from painters that are painting pictures, or paintings, what case. And there are other people that are for it because some of them don't have the ability to take a good picture or maybe draw properly.
There's another software that basically you give it like, let's say I don't have time or I don't want to pay somebody to have like a professional photos of myself done, right? So I can give it like 30, 40 pictures of myself, some headshots, and then it'll generate a very professional photo of me, let's say, in a suit, wherever, in a nice background and everything. So this, this is also another way where, professional photographers could be losing their jobs, right?
Right. So yeah, and with this example you listed, it seems like a new trend for people. Like you said, people don't have time, go somewhere, take a picture, go here, go there, trying to save time.
Yeah.
And you spend like $20-$30 and the computer will generate at least 100 pictures of different backgrounds, just for your LinkedIn profile or whatever profile they're trying to use your headshots for.
Yeah.
So it's amazing what this can go for. On the one hand, yes, photographers do lose on this, but at the same time,
The convenience is there, right?
the convenience is there.
100%.
But what I'm worried about is you're giving all your pictures out there.
Yeah, that's what's scary. That's why I wouldn't do it. Let's say I give them 30, 40 pictures of mine. Where are they being stored? Are they being deleted after? So the privacy concern is there. And also, can they use some of these pictures, which also look like stock photos? Can they maybe use those pictures even if I don't pay or whatever? If I pay, can they not? And we know companies do that. We already have companies selling our data, from Home Depot to Best Buy to other companies that are selling our data already without consent. So obviously these companies can easily take our pictures and and sell them to other people, right? We wouldn't know, right?
Yeah, and which leads us to another one where there's this filter back in the day, maybe a year or 2 years ago. It was very popular. You give it a selfie and would turn it into a cartoon/anime painting.
Yep.
I think the filter was called Me Too or My Too. And there was an article about it where all the data was being stored in China. And they were storing it, and they were actually using the picture you sent for maybe stock photos for their advertisements or for other stuff. And it's crazy. So where do you know where your picture is going? Yeah, you're sending it to an AI to do something, but are they deleting your pictures? Like you said, are they deleting the pictures, or are they using it for some other purpose, creating fake IDs? Because we do know, like, people are creating fake IDs, buying stuff with the fake IDs, getting credit cards with fake IDs.
Yeah.
Right. So
anything's possible. So it's obviously privacy is a big concern here, and also seeing, old saying was seeing is believing. But these days, I think you almost have to say you can't even take pictures into account, in terms of proof and all that, right? Anything can happen, right?
Oh yeah.
Almost you need to see it in real life too for it to happen. An example is there's currently a war, obviously, with Russia and Ukraine. What's to say that Russia doesn't Photoshop some images and puts it out there, saying to the world, hey, they did this, and that's why we're retaliating. So it gives them justification, right, to do something, right?
Yeah. So yeah, in that example, there's already a few examples out there where they use pictures, but they Photoshop. They didn't really use AI. But at the same time, it's already happening where people are using pictures, doing something different with it. Again, this comes back to our newer generation. We're putting a lot of stuff out there. We're not even restricting how we're putting stuff out there.
We're sharing too much information. Right. TikTok is a perfect example.
Right.
There's already, I'm not personally on it, but there's already, family members and whatnot that are on it, and they're sharing a lot of information. Even Snapchat, they have the AI chat built in now, where we can talk to it, and it knows, and you can ask it, for example, where's my location, and it knows your location. And it's scary. You ask it, well, how do you know my location? And it says you can turn it off, but by default, all these settings are usually on. Whether whether it be Google, whether it be Snapchat, and all that. And obviously, with certain people, companies, they store their information within North America or South America or wherever, but in Europe. But some of this information goes to, especially through TikTok, we know that goes to China. And when it goes to China, anything can happen. You have no control over it, right? So, and even if you do, who do you trust? Which company do you trust? Which company you don't trust, right?
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. People need to be taught about privacy. The government should set out some rules there, because even right now, your browsing history is checked on.
Yeah.
Right. That's why you have tailored ads. You were looking. Let's say you were looking for a plant pot.
Yeah.
all of a sudden your next few ads have pots on there.
Facebook will show you plant pots until you buy one.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Your privacy is already being sold out. So can you imagine, just with your face, your voice, whatever you're doing, even the stuff you create, these paintings, like, you used your imagination to create a painting or a picture. Who's stopping someone from taking that and making it their own and selling paintings with that?
Yeah.
So it's crazy what's happening out there, and it's basically like the Wild West. There is no restrictions, there's no trademarks. People are just doing stuff that they feel like, and anybody can just steal anything.
Yeah, and speaking of that, that leads us to deep fake videos, right? You know, which we talked about. It's, you know, there's videos out there already pretending to be Tom Cruise and doing videos, and there's a guy actually on which I find funny. He uses Keanu Reeves. It looks like him, but he's obviously creating these TikTok or Instagram videos, and he's making money from it, right? So there's a lot of deepfake, and it can lead to some people misusing it, right? For it could be for revenge porn, it could be for for whatever, right? Nudity and all that. So there could be a lot of issues.
Yeah, I've noticed they've started using actresses' face on porn and whatnot. It's crazy. And even revenge porn, just like some guys, they broke up with their girlfriend, and they're so angry they're going to use their girlfriend's face to shame her.
Yeah, because they might have pictures and they might share it with the software, and then anything's possible, right?
Yeah, and luckily enough, I know Google, if you ask it to take it down, or the search strings for that particular thing, they will take it down. But it's crazy that there's no repercussions, there's no laws against this for creating a fake profile or a fake face. Especially with revenge porn and whatnot, there's nothing in there to put this person in jail for doing that or apologizing to the person you're doing that to.
Agreed.
Right.
So we talked about obviously all this is scary, 100%. It's scary in a way that what's possible. It's scary. What do we know? There's a lot of unknown factors. There's a lot of uncharted territory here. But obviously, on the other side, there are benefits to this. And let's talk about that a little bit, right? So there's an example is, let's say a person who's visually impaired, who's blind. They use obviously their phone to let's say they're going out for shopping, they're buying some T-shirts. They can use their phone to see what colors. Obviously, the AI can describe, hey, the purple shirt is located to the left, bottom left. That's, that if you want a purple shirt, this is where it can be helpful. And there's already companies working on that. It's amazing technology, right? Whereas before they would need to rely on an actual person to, like a family member, to do video call, right? So to be able to tell them the purple shirt is located at the bottom left is an example. So there are useful situations and scenarios where we need AI, and it can certainly help, and that goes into obviously the medical field and other places. But at the end, we got to have rules and regulations, right? We got to have control over it a little bit, because whenever I think of AI, or first thing always comes to mind is Terminator and
yes, Skynet and everything. Yeah, for sure. Right? No, it definitely is crazy, and there has to be regulations. I know. The Canadian government is trying to look into chatgpt, especially for privacy concerns. And
there's already investigation underway. They want to be able to, obviously control it. You don't want a person, for example, saying, how do I make a gun at home? How do I make this explosive device at home? Blah blah blah. Yeah. So you don't want that, and it, telling a person how to do that. So there needs to be some rules and regulations, right?
Not to say we asked it if we can make a gun. I don't know if that's there, but
no,
I'm pretty
probably
sure
there's safeguards. There's safeguards in place. That's probably definitely possible.
But obviously, our government here in Canada is always late to react to things. It's always slow.
Reactive.
But ChatGPT, if it tries to limit it, it has to. If it's worried about privacy concerns, it has to limit everything else. Yep. It has to limit Facebook. It has to limit Snapchat. It has to limit Instagram, TikTok.
Agreed.
If the Canadian government limited TikTok on the government devices, why is it not doing it for the rest of the country?
So that's where it comes in, where some people might say, you know what, and we talked about to our families and friends about this as well, and to get into an argument is and the other side is I should be able to decide what's limited, right?
Yeah.
So a person, again, I don't use TikTok, but a person who I was talking to says, "Oh, I like TikTok. Why should the government have any say? I'm giving I'm okay with it, right?" Is an example, right? So
Yes.
some people are okay with it. So then you don't want
Some
too
people,
much control.
Some people throw a temper tantrum
Yeah,
because they're being
exactly.
told what to do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are other examples. Back in the day, 1980s, Alberta was mandated to wear seatbelts, and
Yeah.
people were like, "Why should I wear a
Why should I wear
seatbelt?"
a
Right?
seatbelt?
So
Exactly,
it always takes time to bring up this new rules and
Yeah,
regulations,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So
But
speaking of rules and regulations, I think there should be committees. There should be oversight, whether it be country level or at a universal level, or a global level, where we do have like sort of how we have United Nations. We have like maybe a United Nations overseeing AI or something, where we do have rules and regulations in place, because if we don't have that, and this software becomes self-reliant, it can control everything. It can control our power grids. It can control our, everything from power grids to traffic lights to imagine, and it could already be happening. We just don't know it, right? So imagine if you're going through and somebody wants to take you out, and they easily take control of your car or traffic lights, and then have an accident happen, right? So. Right. There could be a lot of possibilities. So I think there needs to be an oversight. I know there's a lot of companies already talking about this. Even Elon Musk was mentioning about it. And but we need to, I think, right away, especially at, like, let's say we're within Canada, have committees already in place. As I said, be proactive, start talking about what limitations there should be in terms of what it can do, what it can't do. But I think, in my opinion, I think it's inevitable. I think we are going to be going that way regardless. It's going to come sooner or later. We can't stop it. It's just a matter of time. But we don't want it rushed.
Exactly.
Right now, what's happening is there's a race, right? With ChatGPT, Google's Bard, Facebook has their own. Right now, it's and Google had released something because they thought they were going to lose the race, because ChatGPT launched something. Google was working on it obviously for quite a few years now, but they released Google Bard again in closed beta, but it felt like they were rushing it, and that's what you don't want. You don't want, whenever we rush things, there tend to be mistakes and oversight on a lot of things. Yeah. So we got to have rules and regulations, from government level, for even ethics and everything, right? So we got to have it. And it could be in a simple example as, let's say you're driving a car, right? And obviously it's automated, right? Full AI, let's say a few years down the road, and you're driving, and let's say the software had to decide, AI software had to decide whether the person in the car lives, or whether there's a kid on the street who's crossing the road. Let's say one had to crash, or could get into injury or death.
Yeah.
What would it choose? And this is where, you can look at it as way as, the car company will try to protect their own client, all right, the passenger. Or do you go as far as, how we had it even at COVID level, where, who do we save? A person who's younger, or a person who's older, a person who's just starting their life, a person who's at the end of the life. So there's a lot of decisions that need to be made when we're choosing or making these decisions, right? Or when the software is making it for us.
Well, especially with AI taxis right now, which is all automated, and it's taking away jobs that will be, for the cab drivers out there. Once this is out, it's already out there in Vegas, and California. It's crazy how the AI can think where it has to go and whatnot, but we should stop making stuff like that automated. We've already lost a lot of jobs to automation.
I agree. But at the same time, let's look at the other point of view. There's a lot of jobs that we need to fill, right? And you can't get enough workers and everything. So I think no jobs are safe. I think it's inevitable. I think it's going to come down the road. Anything from warehousing to driving to, even down the road, doctors at one point will be replaced or brought down. Obviously there should be oversight, but imagine if right now you're going to your doctor, right? And let's say you're sick, And based on their experience and knowledge, which is limited, right, on their lifespan, which is what it could be anywhere from, a few years experience to a few decades, they will give you a particular medication. Right. Now, imagine if down the road in a few years you have AI doing it, where it can go through a vast amount of knowledge, which hundreds of thousands of doctors have put together, and it has compiled, going back hundreds of years or thousands of years, and it can take your blood sample and make a medication or a remedy based on your specific requirements.
Yeah, I think with that, sure, it would be great to have some kind of automated level, especially when we discussed with their healthcare in our first episode.
Yeah.
Obviously we can use some kind of help here because we don't have enough doctors. But it's crazy if the jobs do all get automated. It's what people are losing. Like, for instance, our narrator. If we were to hire someone for that gig, which we did look into, it was close to $200-300 US.
Yep.
Now we did the intro with an AI that whoever we were going to hire has just lost $300, right?
Agreed.
The other people that are probably going to lose out is narrators or stuff for audiobooks.
Yeah, journalists. There's going to be a lot of jobs gone.
Yeah, because with audiobooks, obviously you got to pay by the hour or whatnot. And here you have the software that can have a voice, and you just, generate the voice to create this audiobook. So what's real, what's not real, right?
Yeah.
Even other stuff like, a script writer. We asked ChatGPT to write a script for us. If we were to pay someone, that's a few $100 right there. So ChatGPT did a script for us. That's automated out. So we saved ourselves $600, but there's people that lost $600 right there. So it's weird.
Agreed. And as I said, no jobs are safe. Even when it comes to admin, banking, everything's going to get automated, and jobs are going to go at the point where we will not have a lot of jobs out there. And this is where down the road we're going to have may have universal income, where you get $1,000 a month to stay home and everything's kind of done for you. So we are progressing that way. And we'll conclude with our final thoughts here. What's scary is I'll ask you this: where do you see where we'll be in 50 years from now? 25 to 50 years from now. What do you think that entails, based on your thoughts?
I feel like everything will be automated. Cars will be automated. I mean, we already have Tesla doing automation for us.
With virtual reality will be a huge thing. We'll be staying home in a virtual environment.
Yeah, and obviously people with AI voices, whatnot, and the Neuralink that Tesla was talking about, connecting your brain to it. So it's coming. It's coming.
This is where I think, to keep up with AI and whatnot, what I see in 25 to 50 years is obviously humans with half being robots and half human, or hybridization.
Which is what Elon is experimenting
which Elon is experimenting. It is going to happen. I see, maybe if not my kids, my grandkids being half robots, half machine, because if you can have an arm or a leg which is 10 times or 100 times stronger, they might just opt to do that, right? Organ replacement, life will live on a lot longer. Where do I see in 25, 50 years, maybe, our kids or their kids or the next generation going to other planets, and being half machine, half human. That's where I see. Again, scary world ahead of us, a lot to learn. Just as we went from, no plane to a plane to cell phones, and everything happened within a few decades, and it happened fast. I think this is only going to progress even faster.
Oh yeah. Who knows? Might replace singers, might replace actors, just because you can do whatever for the cheap. Just get animation. So it's crazy unless we get proper control, put in proper rules, which right now we don't. We don't have proper rules on who can use our voice
right now.
Yeah, who can use our voice, who can create a picture of my face, that type of deal. Unless we set in stringent rules where we can say, hey, you will go to jail for not getting permission from this person, right? So like you said, it's the Wild West. Everything will just go crazy, and we'll take a new type of learning experience to make sure how we can see what's a fake, not a fake. Just like the Nigerians in the email scam, it took us a while. People that were not used to it still fell for it, but others got to learn.
People are still falling for it, right? So that's, we'll leave it at that. And be careful out there whenever you're seeing information online. Double, triple think about whether it's real or not. And also, we would love to know what your thoughts are. Please, leave comments below, ask questions, whatever, engage, and ask, what any questions you guys have.
Yeah, so leave us a comment. If you want to get in touch with us, todaysviewca@gmail.com. Yep. Or leave us a comment on YouTube. Subscribe, like, share with your friends there.
Yep.
And if you're on your favorite platform, make sure to subscribe to us on there. So, thanks guys for watching. Thanks for being patient with us. We'll try to put an episode almost every other week there. And we'll leave it to Josh now with our intro. And you let us know how you like our intro there. Thanks, guys.
And then our outro. Thank you.
All right.
Take
Thanks,
care.
guys.
Take care.
See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to today's View. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and gained some valuable insights from our discussion. If you have any thoughts or feedback on today's episode, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us on social media or leave a comment on our YouTube channel. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. We'll be back next week with more engaging topics and thought-provoking analysis. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring the world around you. This has been today's View, and we'll talk to you soon.